Back to behind the headlines. Recently, emergency crews contained a wildfire south of Cassville that burned several hundred acres in the Mark Twain National Forest. It was just one of 2,700 fires this year in Missouri, and now state regulators and the big utility companies are taking steps toward preparedness and prevention. That is the subject of Kaylee Kern's latest report for the Beacon Independent News Service in Kansas City, and Kaylee joins us again now. Welcome back, Kaylee. Always glad to have you here.
Always glad to be here.
Okay, so 2,700, does that mean the frequency of wildfires or the causes of wildfires is the motivation for these safety moves?
Yes, I think in this particular case, the cause is a definite concern for regulators, especially as they're looking at what's happening in other states, including states in neighboring ones like Kansas or Oklahoma, which are seeing more wildfires. But even here in Missouri, we're not seeing as much of an increase in the number of wildfires, but we are seeing an increase in the number of wildfires caused by power lines. Those numbers have been going up for the past few years and actually surpassed 150 this year, which is well above and beyond what we've seen in previous years.
So you took a look at the map and the numbers. So what makes southern Missouri, where we are down here in the Ozarks, to seemingly more fire prone, for example? And also, is climate change a factor in all of this?
Yes, definitely. And the interesting thing that I actually learned while doing the story was that historically, pretty much all of Missouri was fire prone. It all burned pretty regularly prior to just recent history. But today, development and farming have made the northern grasslands a little bit less likely to burn than they once were. But like you said, those more forested southern parts of the state do tend to burn a little bit more often. And part of that is that statewide drought and other weather conditions are, one, creating more fuel for fire by drying out vegetation, and also lengthening the wildfire season. And the two of those things together is definitely increasing risk.
Yeah. So out in California and in Hawaii, they had, as you know, those devastating and deadly wildfires that were started by old or broken power lines. So what are Missouri's big utilities doing to avoid disasters on that scale that would reduce the risk?
Yes, from reading their plans, I have to say the plans are a little bit all over the place. Some utilities are well into implementing their wildfire mitigation plans, while others are still working on developing them. But as for what we're seeing right now, Ameren, Evergy, as well as the electric cooperatives all said that they routinely inspect and repair their equipment, in addition to inspecting and cutting back vegetation to reduce the risk of a fire starting. And they also said that they're upgrading equipment to make it more fire resilient. But on the other hand, utilities' responses were a little bit lighter in some other areas. For instance, they didn't have much of an ability to model weather conditions, and they also didn't seem to have as much of a plan in place about how they would work with public safety agencies and other utilities in the event of an emergency.
So they're kind of on their own, doing this in good faith, I guess. It sounds like.
Yes. What they said was that they are in. Sorry, let me rephrase. Let me start again there. What they said was that they were in communication with other utilities, but they might not have as much of a plan for, in the event of an emergency, these are the steps we're going to take to cooperate with one another.
So let's bring in the Public Service Commission on this. What are state regulators asking the power companies that are under their jurisdiction to do?
Yes. So as of right now, we don't have any requirements or regulations from the Public Service Commission just yet on this particular topic. But earlier this summer, and kind of what prompted the story was the Public Service Commission asked utilities for information about their plans in order to review those plans, identify any potential gaps, and then recommend best practices. And given that request, an expert that I spoke with said that it's very possible that regulators will at least require utilities to have a wildfire mitigation plan in place, but they could also require utilities to have plans for specific pieces, anything like weather modeling or emergency power shutoffs.
So tell us about what's called the PSPS, which I'm hearing about for the first time, the Public Safety Power Shutoffs Plan.
Yes, so the public safety power shutoff plans, in addition to being a mouthful, are what they sound like.
Uh-huh.
They're plans for shutting off the flow of power if conditions get too severe and it seems like a power line could start or worsen a fire. As of right now, neither Ameren nor Evergy has a PSPS plan in place,
Hmm.
but they said that they are looking into it. And these have been gaining more traction nationally as we've seen more wildfires across the country, but they are somewhat controversial because power companies exist to provide power, and they're generally very reluctant to shut off that power, particularly in a dangerous situation or if there is critical infrastructure like a fire station on that
Mhm.
line. But according to an expert that I spoke with, having a plan in place actually helps to address some of those concerns because if utilities have this plan set up, then if conditions worsen to that critical threshold, they already know exactly which customers they'll be cutting off power to, and they can communicate with them to
Mhm.
reduce damage and harm.
So before you go, one more question here. How likely is more Public Service Commission regulation in the future since wildfires will just keep flaring up or those that are started on purpose?
Yes, so like I said before, with this particular request, the Commission wants to use utilities responses to develop a set of best practices that they could recommend or require
Mhm.
utilities to follow. And so in the coming months, we are expecting to see a little bit more from the Public Service Commission about what they're thinking about next steps there. But I think it's very fair to say that as conditions continue to change in Missouri, we will probably continue to hear from both utilities and the Commission about ways that they are striving to better protect Missourians.
All right, we will leave it there for now. We've been talking with Kaylee Curran with the Beacon News Service in Kansas City. You can see Kaylee's articles and other Beacon reporters' work online and social media, as well as this conversation on KY3.com, the KY3 News app, also Roku, Fire Stick, and Apple TV+. Kaylee, we look forward to having you back and hope to see you again soon. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much.